Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Linnea, and today's reading, I wanted it to be all about how to get out of the rut that you're currently in. So if you feel like you're stuck in a rut, if you feel like you're a little stagnant, like you're not moving forward at the pace that you want to be, or like you know you're holding yourself back, then this is the reading for you. And I wanted to get this reading to give you an idea of, why are you stuck in this rut? Are you holding yourself back? Is the universe purposely holding you back? What's the reason that you're currently stuck here? And then I also wanted to get you some information on how can you get out of this rut? Is this something that you need to do? Is this divine timing that you're waiting for? Is it maybe do you need to reach out to somebody else? Or, maybe the answers are right there in front of you, but you know that you're holding yourself back, maybe out of fear, maybe you're afraid of what it might mean for you if you have to move forward. So we're going to look at a lot here, and I hope that it resonates with you. But today I have 3 different readings for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the clear quartz, pile 2 with the blue lace agate, and pile 3 with the malachite. So go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the clear quartz, then this is the reading for you. And like I said in the beginning, we're going to start with why are you in this rut, and then we're going to move into how to get out of this rut. So what I'm seeing for you is I feel like you were very overwhelmed with everything going on in your life. This could have been career, friendships, relationships, your family members. It could have been the things that you wanted to do in the future. It all was just pressing in on you from all angles. The bottom of the deck energy I'll show to you is the 7 of Wands. And if you look at this card, you see it's this guy who literally has these wands rushing up at him and he's trying to fight them off. And it seems like he's very overwhelmed. And that kind of corresponds to this 8 of Wands card, which the 8 of Wands is about like movement and rapid things rapidly happening, lots coming at you. But with the disruption card above it, it makes me think that you got to a point where you just needed to say, like, we're just stopping. You're cutting it all off. You took a step back. You just, I don't know, maybe you rapidly switched career directions, or maybe you literally ran away from your problems and, skipped town and, I don't know, moved to Montana to be a cowboy. Like, obviously that doesn't have to be you, but I'm just imagining somebody that was so overwhelmed with all the things happening in their life that they just ran away. They shut things down, and, I'm not saying that that's wrong to do. I think if you are overwhelmed and you're unhappy with your life, it's okay to make these kinds of decisions, to take a step back, to prioritize ourselves, to help us, slow down so we can get clarity. I had the sense that you were just so anxious and scared and overwhelmed and stressed, and I think that obviously we know that's not good for our health, but I think for you especially, it was really taking a toll on you. I don't know why I just got a picture in my head of somebody that was losing their hair, literally their hair is falling out from stress, or maybe having skin issues. I know me personally, I get really bad eczema when I get stressed out because I start itching. I get itchy when I'm stressed, and just take a deep breath. Something I always would think about is, obviously we know stress is something that we evolved to feel to get us out of bad situations where our life was on the line. Where, if there was a tiger or a lion right in front of us, we would feel that stress. But now we're here in our cushy, modern lives where we're not constantly worried about a lion attacking us, but we still get that feeling like there's a lion in the room with us. And I think right now, where you're at right now, I want you to just remind yourself, take a look around. Your life is not in mortal danger right now. Okay, there is no lion about to chomp your head off. So this feeling that you're feeling with this constant heightened energy and stress, a lot of it is baked into us as a natural evolutionary trait. We're supposed to be able to feel that, but sometimes what we're feeling doesn't really correspond to what's going on in our life right now. Yeah, there might be something stressful going on at work, but is your life in mortal danger? No. So we need to make that distinction and kind of wake ourselves up a little. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's scary, but it's not so bad that we need to have our hair falling out, have our skin falling apart, because there is not a lion in the room with you right now. So first of all, recognize these signals. Don't beat your body up for feeling this way. Your body is trying to protect you by making you feel stress. But we control our minds. We are in charge of what situations we put ourselves into. We can control this stress. So first and foremost, remember that you are in charge. These emotions, these things around you, yes, they can influence us, but we choose where we put ourselves. We choose what situations to put ourselves in. So never forget, like, that's the most important thing, is you are in charge of what you are going to feel. You are in charge of where you put yourself. And I think that you took the initiative by saying, okay, I'm going to remove myself from these situations because clearly they're not good for me. Clearly I'm stressed out in this life that I was living, so I'm making a change and I'm going here. But I think something that you did when you did that is I'm imagining a bunch of vines are attached to your heart. This is just random. This is what came to mind. But I'm imagining you have all these vines attached to your heart. And all these vines represent the things attached to you. It could be literally the things that you have in your room, the clutter you have in your room. It could be the worldly objects that you have. It could be the relationships. It could be your career. All these different things that are attached to you. And I'm imagining that some of those vines were rotten. You know, there were some friendships that had to go. There were some relationships that were just causing more grief than good. Maybe your career really wasn't meant for you, you know? Those are the rotten vines. But I'm imagining that instead of taking the time to sit down and trim those rotten vines and give to the healthy ones, you know, nurture the healthy ones, I'm imagining that you had this blindfold on, you took a machete and you were just slashing everything in front of you. And I think in that process, you got rid of some of the things that were positive for you. I don't know how else to say it, but it's like imagine, let's go with the cowboy going to Montana thing. Like, let's say you were living in the city and you were just tired of the city life, so you picked up and you ran away to Montana, and it's like, great, yeah, maybe that's something that you really wanted to do. But in the process, you left certain things behind that were actually positive and beneficial to you. Maybe they were certain things that you did throughout your day, certain rituals and practices where you checked in with yourself. Like, maybe, like, you know those people that are all about, like, grind set mindset and, like, you know, constant you working hard and working out and, like, being on top of your shit, like, that kind of thing where all of a sudden you're like, this grind is way too much, I'm taking a step away from it. But some of the things that you stepped away from were maybe waking up early is actually good for you, or maybe going to the gym regularly was actually beneficial to you. But you wanted so badly away from that lifestyle that you just cut it all off. You just sheared everything off with a machete. And I think that you need to take a look back at that time in your life where you ran away from everything. And I think you need to take a clear look back and ask yourself, okay, what was actually contributing to me wanting to run away? What was contributing to me wanting to just pick up and leave everything and just disappear? What were the bad things? And what were some things that actually I could integrate into my life now without feeling overwhelmed, but recognize how they're helping me? Because sometimes, you know, things like going to the gym, we know we don't want to do them. We know that it does drag our energy down to have to go work out, but we know that it's good for us. And I think that you were in a place in your life where you just could not handle that extra drain on your energy. But now you're at a point in your life where you could really benefit from it. And obviously, this is just one example. It doesn't need to literally be the gym, but I think you need to look back and ask yourself, what did I run away from that actually could benefit me now, here in the future? Because I think you were in desperate need of making a change, but I think you made such a drastic change that you actually walked away from some things that were beneficial and could be beneficial in your life now. All right, so now for the part of how to get out of the rut that you're currently in. The first two cards that we had coming out here were the Energy card and the Page of Wands. And when I saw this, it made me think that you just need to start from brass tacks, like start from the bare bones minimum of let's take care of our body first and foremost. Like, yeah, we have all these grand ideas of, okay, I'm going to make this career change, I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to do XYZ, but I think you need to start with yourself. You know, you start with your foundation first. If you try to start building all these things on a rocky foundation, it's going to fall apart. And maybe that's what your problem was in the beginning, is you just didn't have a solid foundation within yourself. You weren't prioritizing yourself and caring for this vessel that you're living in. And so when I see this energy card, I'm imagining you with like your energy bar, right? Like imagine that eating and drinking water and stretching and having fun, spending time with friends and doing self-soothing activities, those fill up your energy bar. I'm imagining that your energy bar is just consistently low. Just, was consistently low, and maybe you were trying to do all these things, and because your energy bar was low, that's why everything fell apart. That's why you felt the need to run away. I think that you are somebody that is capable of taking on all these things that you're scared of. All these things that seem overwhelming. You can take them on, but you have to have a positive relationship with yourself. You have to keep that energy bar filled. You have to keep yourself happy and healthy, and you need to check in with yourself regularly, I think when things start to feel overwhelming, check in with yourself and ask yourself like, hey, how are we doing? Are we able to take this thing on? Should we say yes to these plans, or is this a night where I feel like I really need to give back to myself? Really ask yourself that honestly, and don't feel bad if you have to say no. I feel like sometimes, like me especially, I always feel the need, like I need to say yes, I need to maintain my schedule this way, I need to, work these 40 hours and then also hang out with my coworkers after work and then also go to the jiu-jitsu gym like twice a week, and I have to spend time with my friends, and I want to make time with my family, and then what comes last is myself. And that's something that I'm really trying to work on, because I have all these things that I want to do, but I put them on the back burner to please other people. And maybe that's people pleasing. Maybe that's not necessarily what you go through. But I think something that I'm trying to learn is I need to be my number one priority. And sometimes that goes against my identity of being hardworking and a go-getter and, having everything together, is because when you try to do all those things and you put yourself last, obviously you're going to start to fall apart. But if you want to put yourself first, maybe it can feel like, I'm not being hardworking. I'm being lazy by staying home. I'm not staying on top of my things by, saying no to all these plans. But I think what we really need to do is flip that mindset and say, in order to uphold this style of life, this lifestyle where you want to do all these things, you want to pursue that career, you want to go back to school, you want to have kids and raise a family, you want to do all these things, you have to understand you have to take care of yourself first and foremost. And that can be hard. It can be hard to prioritize ourselves because we're always taught like, the self comes last or else it's selfish. And actually, no, it's not selfish, because you have needs. You're a human. You're not a workhorse. You're not a machine. You can't force yourself to do all these things and then as an afterthought check in with yourself. I think mental check-ins with yourself need to become honestly, not even just daily, like multiple times a day ritual. Maybe every time that you sit down to eat, have a check-in with yourself. Instead of immediately putting on YouTube or TikTok or putting on the TV while you're sitting down to have a meal, maybe check in with yourself. Let that be your time where you have to sit down to eat, right? You have to sit in this moment of stillness. So check in with yourself. Before you turn on your device and distract your brain, ask yourself, okay, how am I doing mentally? Am I doing okay? Do I feel frazzled? Do I feel stressed? Do I feel depressed? If I feel any of these ways, why am I feeling this way? Is it because this bad thing happened today? Or is it because I just haven't been eating healthy, haven't been sleeping right, haven't been spending enough time with friends and family that I know are going to rejuvenate me? Have those little check-ins. Ask yourself, what do I need more of? What am I having way too much of? And then rebalance. And allow those little moments throughout your day to kind of, at the very least, understand what you're going through and understand what changes need to be made. Because sometimes we just feel all these feelings, and since we never check in, it just is like this layer on top of us. But at least when you recognize it, you see it for what it is, sometimes it can kind of shrink these things down and say, oh, okay, it was just this one little thing that I didn't address that kind of spiraled out of control. But now that I can address it and deal with it, I'll get it out of the way, and it'll no longer be a burden on me. So all this to say, I think you need to start by prioritizing yourself, by taking care of your body, taking care of your mind. Like things as simple as, are you drinking enough water? Are you eating healthy? Maybe check in with, well, I guess not everybody has the ability to go to a nutritionist, but kind of, it could be as simple as having a food diary where you write down, like, okay, I had a bunch of gluten today, it made me feel shitty. Or I had a bunch of dairy and now my stomach hurts. Okay, maybe let's cut out those things. Or, I've been really craving this one food. Maybe it's because my body wants the protein in that food or wants the nutrients that that food has to offer. I personally am like trying to correct my gut microbiome because like so much of our gut really does influence our emotions and how we're feeling, and I've been putting conscious effort into healing my gut microbiome, having a lot of probiotics, eating cleaner, and genuinely makes me feel a lot better. So something as simple as what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, can build up that foundation to make you feel a little stronger, a little more willing to take on the day. Like, are you the kind of person that has a nice hearty breakfast with, all the fixins? Or are you the kind of person to run out the door with only a coffee and maybe you don't drink water until like 11 or 12? Like, this is kind of an aside, but something I always try to do in the morning is have a few gulps of water before I have a sip of coffee. Because we usually wake up pretty dehydrated and then you're immediately going to put this caffeine in that's not good for you. That's just an aside, but something to think about. Take care of your body first and foremost. Having a regular schedule as well, I think, would really benefit you. And it could be as simple as like, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen throughout our day. I don't mean a schedule in that way, but maybe you have a rigid sleep schedule where you say, okay, at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., I'm turning off my phone, no more phone time. I'm not going to be on my phone until midnight when my eyes finally start closing. Like, I'm going to have a normal sleep schedule because maybe that's something that you can have control over. You might not be able to have control over what your boss tells you throughout the day or all these obligations that you have, but you can control what your sleep schedule is. So just maintaining control over what you can control, taking care of your body, that is going to build you into a strong foundation that can then take on the world. You might have all of these plans of what you want your future to look like and all these things that you want to go do and try and experiences that you want to have, but you can't take that on if you're like a flimsy piece of paper that like a little water is melting you and you're falling apart. You need to be strong like concrete, solid like a mountain, So take care of yourself. Build up that energy bar. Make sure that your foundation is strong. And I promise you, from there, getting out of this rut, you might realize that you've made a mountain out of a molehill. What feels like an inescapable rut or what feels like this cavern that you're stuck in might actually turn out to be only the tiniest little hole. But it was because you've kept yourself down for so long by not prioritizing you that you haven't been able to get out of it. So start with yourself, don't lay around in your pajamas all day. Maybe get yourself dressed. Go outside more often. Take care of yourself. Build, maybe on your weekends, you're carving out a specific time where there's no phone and it's just time to clean up a little. To clean our space so that we can feel more calm in our environment. And then lastly, you have the Trust card and the Chariot card. I think more than anything, to get out of this rut, and even beyond the rut that you're stuck in, beyond this stagnation, to move forward in the future and to live the best life that you want to live, you need to build trust within yourself. Maybe you don't trust that you can do certain things. And maybe it's because you allow yourself to give up too easily. Before, what got you into this rut was you ran away because you felt like you had to. And maybe you did. Maybe you did. Maybe it was important that you run away because you really were falling apart, and I understand that. But when you give yourself outs and always tell yourself we can always just run away, we can always just give up, we can always just skip town, you're never holding yourself to accountability and allowing yourself to believe that you can actually accomplish the things that you want to in life. Because let's say going back to school is a goal that you had, but you know that before you've just given yourself out to give up, or, there's always this fallback plan. There's always this thing that I can run away to. Always giving yourself that out is setting yourself up for failure because you're expecting that you're going to need to run away. You're expecting that you won't be able to handle it. So you need to start setting up things for yourself where you tell yourself okay, Maybe my goal is to get into a relationship. All right, then I'm gonna go out on one date a month. Yeah, it seems like it's maybe it seems scary, or maybe it seems like it's not that much, but if you do one date a month, that's 12 new people that you're meeting per year. Or maybe one a month turns into, oh, I really like this person, I'm going to continue to see them. But holding yourself to accountability that, okay, I'm going to set aside points of time where maybe I'm going to ask a friend to set me up on a blind date, or maybe I'm going to go on that dating app, or maybe I'm just going to spark up a conversation with that person that I think is cute at the gym. Whatever it is, holding yourself to accountability that, okay, I'm going to just do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to back down, and actually following through is going to build that self-trust in you that you can handle it. I think also a lot of this for you probably stems from anxiety that you have. Like, I'm not here to diagnose, but that might be something that you want to look into. If you have the ability to do so, to see a professional, seek professional help. Obviously, don't self-diagnose, but a lot of these root issues, I think it's just like a bunch of wires that are crossed, and you just need to untangle it all. But I think if you look at that mess of wires from top down, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is way too much to deal with. I'm never going to be able to undo all this. But if you start with yourself, you say, okay, I'm not going to focus on things outside of myself that I can't control. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know what I can decide for myself. Start with yourself. Start by taking care of yourself. Start by taking care of your home, your body, and then once we've filled that energy bar, once our body starts feeling a little better, and give yourself time to adjust. Don't think that you're just going to have one good day where you drink water and eat clean and then you're going to take on the world. Like, it's going to take time for your body to adjust to feeling healthier, right? Spend more time outside, move your body, stretch it out. Maybe do workouts every once in a while, or just take a walk around the block every once in a while. Then we can start building up to, okay, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want relationships to look like? What do I want my career to look like? And what are the next steps for that? Maybe just start with one sector. What do I want my career to look like? And you have to build that trust with yourself by saying, here's a goal, here's how I'm going to do it, here's the day that I'm going to attempt it, and then go do it. Don't back down. Don't allow yourself to say, no, I don't want to do it today. Don't allow yourself to do that. Be the coach that you know that you need to accomplish what you want in life. That's going to be the only way that you move forward. And when you do it, when you do these things, it is going to build so much self-trust within you. You aren't going to need other people to push you forward. You're not going to need spirit or these tarot videos to push you forward, because you yourself will have that confidence baked into yourself by having these repetitions of showing yourself that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And doing that over and over and over again is what's going to allow you to feel like you can take on anything. And like I said, don't start with the mountain. Start with the steps in front of you. What is something small that you can take on today? Maybe start with, you have a chore list on your wall that you've just been ignoring. You see something comes up on the wall and you're like, nah, I just don't really feel like it today. I'm not going to do it today. No, you're going to do it today. Why? Because you know that this is what is important to building that trust within yourself. Say you're going to do something and then go do it. It doesn't have to be huge, scary things. It can be, I said I'm going to vacuum today, so I'm going to vacuum today. Or else I'm not allowed to, go get a coffee. Because, obviously don't do this in, this can be a negative thing to do where people are like, okay, I'm not going to eat today don't do something like that. Obviously still take care of yourself. But if you're, you know that you want to get a coffee from your favorite coffee shop, say, okay, once I vacuum, then that can be my treat. And then that treat is going to feel so much better. It's going to be so much tastier because you earned it. And you're taking care of yourself. And you will turn into this chariot character, this person that is literally on top of the world, pushing forward towards their goals. Nobody can slow them down. Why? Because they've built this trust within themselves. They trust themselves more than anyone else in the world. And because they have the energy to do so, because they take care of themselves. So you're going to get out of this rut, and this is going to be you. On top of the world, taking care of yourself. I believe in you. I know that you can do it. But sometimes we just need to recognize, okay, this is our situation. This is where we're at. These are the things that brought us here. And what are we going to do about it? I think that's all it takes. It takes a little bit of self-recognition and then taking care of yourself. It doesn't need to be super difficult. Just start with the easy stuff, like I said. Sometimes the easy stuff is actually all we need to start seeing our problems as, oh, these problems are actually a lot smaller than I thought they would be. So, pile 1, that is where I'm going to leave you. I really hope that this reading found you when you need it the most. I hope it brought you some clarity. And more than anything, I hope that this has made you feel a little bit more confident and capable and going after the things that you want. I think that everything is just stemming from this foundation that you have. Right now you have a foundation made of gravel. You need it to be made out of concrete so that you can stand on it and go wherever you want to go. I know you can do it. So that is everything that I have. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 2. If you chose the blue lace agate, then this is the reading for you. And I want to start by saying that if you are somebody that is very sensitive to criticism, first of all, I think that you should be here, but also, little warning that there will be some criticism. And it's not coming from a place of hate. None of my readings ever do. It comes from a place of love and wanting to shake you awake because your life could be so much more than what it currently is. And I'm not saying that your life is terrible, okay, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that you clearly want more for yourself, but you're not allowing yourself to want it. You're not allowing yourself to pursue it. You are the only one holding yourself back from living the life that you want to live. And that's a harsh reality to wake up to. Because once you realize that, you either have two options. You force yourself out of it to live the life that you actually want, to be better, or you force yourself to stay in it, and it leads to a cycle of self-abuse, self-hating, lack of self-love because you know you're holding yourself back, but you're also afraid because you don't trust yourself to move forward. All this to say, this reading is going to be, it's not going to be a gentle love kind of reading, but I think it is necessary, and I think you know it's necessary. You clearly recognize you're in a rut right now if you've come to watch this reading. On some level, you know you're in a rut, and whether or not you continue to watch it and put these things into use so that you can get out of it, that's up to you. My job is just to lay out the cards and tell you what they say. So that's what we're going to get into. So what I'm seeing, first and foremost, I see the Magic card, which to me represents the life that you would enjoy living, the life that you want to have, the things that you fantasize about, the things that you dreamt about as a child, but now as an adult tell yourself are impossible, they're not something for you, they're not something that you can attain. All of these lies that you tell yourself about how you can't have it, I think that life is still out there for you. It is something that is very much attainable, something that you can, and actually the universe thinks that you should have. But when I look at this Five of Pentacles reversed, I think that you don't want to face hardship. So you're keeping yourself in safety, quote unquote safety. It's actually somewhere where you're not content, you're not happy, you know you don't want to be here, but it feels safe. It's keeping you protected from failure. It's keeping you protected from the scary outside world that you don't want to venture into. I'm imagining somebody that hasn't left their parents' home because the outside world is, scary, or you have to fend for yourself, you have to make your own friends, you have to pursue your own career. There's no one out there to help you. And that's scary. So instead, you've stayed in this safe place and you tell yourself lies that it's impossible to attain those things. I'm not going to be good enough to get it. I'm not going to be able to succeed. If I apply to that school or to that job, I'm just going to get rejected. You tell yourself these lies, and maybe the people around you feed into them, and that's why you keep them around, is because they tell you what you want to hear, even though the thing that you want to hear is what's holding you back. And you have this fear. I should have covered up the star card, but I guess it's a little too late. Don't look at her. She's naked. Anyways, the fear card, clarified by the star reversed. This fear has turned into a hopelessness that you will not be able to achieve what you want. And just this idea of whatever you want to move towards, or the outside world, whatever it is, has been built into, in pile 1 I said you've turned a mountain, you've turned it into a mountain out of a molehill. Like, it's actually this thing that is not that bad, it might not lead to this horrible thing that you think it will, but you've built it up so much that it seems like this all-encompassing, like you're gonna die if you step out the door. And it's not. So the things that's keeping you in this rut is fear and self-doubt and telling yourself these lies and allowing yourself to stay in this safety and comfort of level 1. Like imagine a Mario game where you know you have to defeat Bowser, you know you gotta get to the end, but it's scary because what if Mario dies? What if Mario gets hurt? What if those levels are too difficult and then I get stuck and I never move forward? So instead you stay on level 1 and you replay level 1 over and over and over again. And what's the point of that? What are you getting out of playing level 1 other than staying, quote unquote safe? You're not getting anything. You're not moving forward. You're not living life the way it's meant to be lived. You're not allowing yourself to accomplish any of the dreams that you had when you were young. And instead you betray that younger version of yourself by telling yourself you're never gonna have it. You're never gonna win. You're never going to move forward. You're never gonna have the things that you want. You tell yourself this as a safety mechanism. Because what if I go out there and I get hurt? What if I go out there and it's scary? What if I go out there and I can't achieve it? These are all what ifs. These are not set in stone, you are not gonna get it. You could have the life that you want. You could pursue it, and maybe you'll discover something even better. Maybe you won't get this life that you have in this picture in your head, but maybe you'll get something that you never even imagined. Maybe you'll get something better. But you're never gonna know because you refuse to step out that door into the unknown. And I don't say this to beat you up, and I'm not saying that you're this terrible person. I'm trying to shake you awake and tell you your reality, that you are holding yourself back. Because the only way that you can move forward is by recognizing these things and taking those steps. No one's going to pick up your feet and move them for you. Only you can take those steps forward for yourself. And yeah, it is scary. It is scary to go out into the unknown. But I want you to ask yourself, what's the alternative? We stay on level 1 for the rest of our life and then ultimately perish at level 1 of old age, never knowing what was out there. We stay in our hometown with the same circle of people that tell us the same lies over and over and over again, never knowing what is better. We stay in this job that we hate, but because it's safe, we stay here. Is that really better? Withering away in something that you don't love? Not experiencing life to the fullest? I genuinely believe that you have a soul family that's out there. People that you are meant to meet and love and who will love you, who are meant to meet you. They're out there waiting for you. And there's a whole host of experiences out there waiting for you as well. But you're never going to be able to realize them if you stay stuck in this place. The universe is not going to move you for you. The universe can put those opportunities there for you. The universe can show you the way. The universe can have a bus ticket fall right in front of you. But you have to be the one that picks up that ticket and gets on the bus and goes. At the end of the day, yes, I do believe that there are certain experiences that are laid out for us that we are meant to have. But at the same time, we have to move our own bodies towards it. No one's going to pick you up and plop you there, and no one's gonna pick up these friends and put them in front of you and say, these are the people you are meant to be friends with for the rest of your life. No, you're the one that needs to go out there and say yes to plans and say, you know what, maybe I will go to that party. Maybe I will say yes to this person that asked me out on a date. You are the person that needs to say yes and to go out there and do these things. No one's gonna do it for you. I always use this example of imagine praying to the universe over and over again, I want a cake. That's the only thing that I want. That's what I want to manifest into my life. And then one day you have all these ingredients show up on your doorstep. And then you look at them, you have the flour and the eggs and all this, but then you're like, oh, but what if I mess it up? What if my cake isn't good? What if it's not like everything that I ever dreamed? And so then you allow those ingredients to rot. And it's like the universe gave you that opportunity. But what the universe needs from you is participation. If you don't participate in your own life, nothing's ever going to move forward. You need to leave the nest. You need to leave safety. You know you're unhappy, so why do you continue to stay where you're unhappy? All you're doing is holding yourself back, and it's a disservice to yourself. It's a disservice to that younger version of you that had these grand plans and these dreams of what life could look like and all these people I'm going to meet, all these experiences I'm going to have. You do a disservice to yourself, to that little version of yourself, every time you refuse to participate in your own life. You are not just an observer. You chose to come here for a reason, and there's a whole life waiting for you. But you're so afraid of failure or of making a mess of yourself or looking awkward or all these things, and it's leading you to genuinely believe that it's hopeless. And that's where we need to start. You need to start by recognizing that, okay, this feeling that something's impossible, this feeling that I can't do it, that's a lie. That's a lie that you told yourself. You feeling hopeless is because of the lies that you told yourself. Recognize it for what it is. These are lies. Yes, the fear is very real, but nothing is impossible. Another thing that I always like to say is we have free will. Never forget that you have free will. For example, I can go to my neighbor's house right now, and I can break in, and I can put my hands on their TV and pry it off the wall and take it to my house. I can go do that right now. I can steal my neighbor's TV if I wanted to. Why? Because I have free will. But there's another version of me that tells myself, I can't do it. It's impossible. Nothing is impossible. I just don't want to face the consequences of I could go to jail or my neighbor could shoot me for breaking into their house. Yes, there are those consequences that I don't want to face, but the key detail is it's not impossible. Now, obviously, I'm not advocating for you breaking into your neighbor's house, but I'm trying to tell you, if you have a certain dream, you telling yourself impossible, that's a lie. It's not impossible. You don't want to face the consequences. So instead, what I want you to do is get really clear. What are the consequences? Okay, I moved to a new state where I don't know anybody to pursue this job that I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. What are the consequences? Okay, well, maybe I'll fail at the job and then I'll be back at square one. Okay, what's the consequence of not doing that? Well, you're already at square one. You're at the place where you're still in level 1. You're still in the intro level. So you might as well try. There's no harm in trying. And so that was just the first part of why are we in this rut. Now, I've already told you exactly why we're here. You're the one holding yourself back. You're choosing to stay in this comfort versus going out into the scary unknown. And again, it might sound like my tone is accusatory, but it's not. I just want to clarify this for you because no one else is going to do it for you. And that's about what we're about to get into, is no one else is going to do it for you, because I think how you get out of this rut, stop asking advice from people that you don't respect. You are asking, imagine there's this other person that's in the same boat as you, refuses to ever move out of their small town, refuses to ever push themselves to chase their dreams, refuses to ever make something of themselves, and instead allows their fear to rule them. And you're going to this person who also has their head on backwards, and you're asking them, what should I do? Should I take this leap or should I stay where it's safe? What answer do you think you're going to get? Probably that you should play it safe, because that person has only ever played it safe in their entire life. So don't ask for advice from people that you don't want to be like. I think you, for a long time, have been asking for advice from people that have not done the hard work to chase their dreams, to follow their intuition, to follow what they're meant to be in their life, to take that leap, to ask out that person that's way out of their league. If they have not done that, if they have not walked the walk, if they are not the kind of person that you want to grow up to be, why are you asking them for advice? Clearly, they don't have the answer you're looking for. The answer that they have is the one that's going to tell you it's okay to stay at level 1. They're going to tell you, it's okay to stay here. It's okay to stay at mom's house. It's okay to never move on. And if that's the answer you're looking for, to soothe yourself and make yourself feel like, okay, the decision I'm making is the right decision, you're just telling yourself a lie, and you're having a liar help you feed into that lie. And maybe it works for them. Maybe fine. They never want to move up in the world. But I want you to ask yourself, if you're really happy, why are you still listening to this video? If you're happy where you're at, why are you still listening to this? And it's because what we have clarifying this is the intuition card. Stop taking advice from other people and instead ask your highest self. Not the ego that wants to keep you in place, not the part of yourself that is scared and doesn't want to move forward, but ask the highest version of yourself. What do I really want out of life? What do I want to try to be? I don't know, maybe you want to be a Michelin star chef, but you're scared because, I don't know, it's such a big goal, I don't know if I can aspire to it. Maybe you start by finding a restaurant that you really love, a chef that you really respect, somebody that you admire, and you see they put so much passion and love into their work, and then you ask if you can work with them. Just even as a busboy, just start from the bottom, work yourself up, try to share with them how much you have this passion, you want to move up. Okay, now you're a host. Now you're a waitress. Okay, now they actually let you, take your hand at cooking. I don't really know how a restaurant works, but show your passion. Follow the people that you want to become like. Gain knowledge that you can from them, and then figure out, what's the path to get to owning that Michelin star restaurant? What is the path to getting me there? Okay, I need to go to culinary school? That's too expensive. But maybe if I travel to another country where it's cheaper to live, like Thailand, and I learn from a chef that's there that's doing this really cool underground thing, and I don't know, that's a pathway. There's always a path. This world is so vast. There are so many different people and so many stories, so many different things to learn from. But you're keeping your world so small, and you're allowing yourself to be fed lies from people that you don't respect. Why ask advice about relationships from somebody that can't hold a steady relationship? From somebody that doesn't really love and respect their partner? It's like you're just asking for bad advice so that you can stay in the spot that you're in. We need to disconnect from that, and you need to listen to your intuition only. Your intuition is going to be king. That is what's going to be most important to listen to. Maybe you need to get back into a spiritual practice of daily prayer, whatever it is that you like to do, reconnecting with yourself, maybe journaling or speaking aloud. When something feels right, you'll know it. You'll know it because it's not led by fear or anxiety or urgency. Instead, it will sound right. I don't really know how else to explain intuition except that. But lastly, what we need, you have the protection card and the 8 of Cups reversed. You need to let go of this fear of, being afraid to walk away from what you know. Yes, it's scary, but I think, maybe it's as simple as making a fallback plan for yourself, right? Okay, you know that you're unhappy here, but it's safe. Okay, so what's something safe we can do? Maybe we can go to school for something safe and easy, like accounting. Get your accountant credentials. This is just an example. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but get your accountant credentials so if everything falls apart, at least you can go and be an accountant, or like a nursing job. Like nursing makes a lot of money, and the pathway in school really isn't that long. My girlfriend is currently going through nursing school right now, and yeah, it's competitive, but it's the specific program that she's in, but when you get out of it, you're making big bucks and you can work literally anywhere in the world. There's always going to be a need for nurses. So you will always have something to fall back on. And maybe nursing isn't your passion. That's fine. But you have something to fall back on so that at the very least going into that unknown is a little less scary. Because if, maybe I'm pursuing this dream of becoming a chef, but I know that no matter what, I'll have something steady to fall back on. And maybe that takes a little bit of the stress off of you. But it requires you taking a step into that unknown and being willing to push yourself out there. Because this protection, you look at these locks, and yeah, it symbolizes being protected, being safe, but they're linked together. You are stuck to this thing. You want to be safe and secure, but that is restricting your freedom. As long as you choose security, you're never going to be able to have that taste of freedom. Maybe one day you can have a nice balance of it, but the current source that you're getting your security from is also keeping you tied down, and it's preventing you from pursuing what you want in life. So, pile 2, I know this message was definitely tough love, But I think if you really sit down, you listen to these things and ask yourself these questions from just an open, honest, wanting to move forward point of view, I think that you will learn a lot about yourself and learn a lot about what you want in life. And it's never too late to try. You need to stop telling yourself that things are impossible and stop telling yourself that things are too late. It doesn't matter if you're 80 years old. If you still want to pursue something, as long as you still have life within you, as long as your heart is still beating and as long as you're still breathing, you can still pursue things. And if you have a fully functioning body, you have no excuses. I'll finish it out by telling you this story that I heard that I just think it is amazing, and it gives me no excuse to say I can't do something. So there's this guy, Leo Skeppy. You probably know who that is. He is a podcaster and TikToker, influencer. You'd probably recognize him if you saw him. But he told this story once about how when he was working as a nurse, he was taking care of this paraplegic guy. This guy that literally did not have a functioning body, could not move, paralyzed from the neck down. This guy had every excuse to roll over and give up. In fact, he couldn't even roll over because he's literally paralyzed. So he had every excuse to give up and not make anything of himself. But you know what he did? He asked Leo to put a pencil in his mouth so that he could move his chin to type on a keyboard and teach himself how to code, so that he could be self-sufficient, so that he could build a career even when he couldn't move a muscle. Can you believe that? So you and I, we have no excuse. It doesn't matter if you're missing one arm, you still have 3 perfectly good limbs. And yes, it's difficult, it's tough, it is so emotionally grueling. I'm not going to take away from that fact. But mindset is everything. And never lie to yourself and tell yourself you can't do something. The only time you can't do something is when you're dead. So let that sink in. As long as you're living, you have no excuse. You can do it. I believe in you. You deserve it too. I genuinely believe that you deserve to be happy and to live the life that you want to live. Don't do a disservice to yourself by telling yourself that you can't do it. So, pile 2, that's everything that I have for you. I truly, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, wish you the best and want you to succeed, but it starts with you. You have to realize you're in a rut, you have to get out of the rut, and you gotta move forward. And you can do it. So, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3. Last but certainly not least, if you chose the Malachite, then this is the reading for you. And like I said in the beginning, we're starting off with why are you in the rut that you're in? And the rut that you're in is very different from the first 2 piles. So I was looking at your cards and having kind of a hard time trying to describe it. So hopefully it makes sense. I feel like this is definitely going to be a little bit more niche than the other piles. But what I'm seeing from you is you're actually quite happy in your rut. And what I mean by that is I'm imagining you as a big fish in a little pond. I think you are somebody that rose to the top of your game, but in a specific level. And everybody else in this level is not as accomplished and doesn't have as much. Maybe they don't have as much experience, so you're just so much faster and better. I'm imagining you're at this job where you are just on top of it. You're I don't know. Let's say you're, okay, this is gonna be kind of niche. It doesn't make sense, but I'm a marine biologist, so it makes sense to me, but not everybody's gonna understand this, but I'm just explaining it my way, so hopefully you'll follow along. But in biology, there's not a lot of money in conservation, so let's just say that this sector of your job that you're in, you're not making the most money, but you're making more money than everybody else in this business because you've been around for so long and you are just on top of your game. You've moved up the ranks, and so now you're the senior scientist. But you're a senior scientist doing this very niche thing in this one little sector, right? So you're this big fish in this little pond, and it strokes your ego because everybody has questions for you and everybody is hey, can you help me with this thing? Oh, you're so knowledgeable. But it's all the people asking you these questions, maybe they're high school interns or they're fresh out of college. And so, of course, they don't know very much. And you feel like you're this big fish and like you're the best person at the company and the hardest worker, and like it strokes your ego. It makes you feel good. But you're actually just at like level 1. And level 2 is, obviously this doesn't make any sense, but like moving into nuclear science, let's say. But you know that if you moved into this other field, all of a sudden you'd be at the bottom of the ladder. And you wouldn't really know as much as other people. You'd be kind of lost. You'd have to ask all these questions, and you'd be a small fish again. I think the rut that you're in is you're like refusing to level up and go on to this next level that's harder because you feel like you're doing great where you're at. You're this big fish, and like, I don't really know how else to explain it. It's like being a super senior in high school. Like you got held back another year, so now you're like actually 19 or 20 in high school, and you're like beating up all these other kids in football. But really it's like, it's because they're actually supposed to be in this level and you were supposed to graduate already. But you're staying here because it makes you feel big. It makes you feel strong to beat up those that are smaller than you. And I don't mean to say that you're wanting to hurt other people smaller than you. I'm trying to say that you are refusing to level up because you feel strong where you're at right now. And you know that when you level up, you're going to be starting from square 1. But you're not really happy with where you're at right now. It's like let's stick with the big fish example. You're a big fish in a little pond, and all the other fish are these tiny, tiny little minnows, and you're like this huge overgrown carp. You feel so strong that you're bigger than everyone else, but you're also like, man, this space is kind of cramped, and like, I'm eating so much fish, but they're so small, like it's not really satiating me, like I'm not happy here. But you're convincing yourself that like, yeah, but I'm also on top of the world. I'm so much better than everybody else, and everything is so easy for me. And it's like, yeah, everything's easy, but nothing is a challenge, and you're not on an equal playing field. It's like, imagine you're an Olympian, or you could be an Olympian, but you're playing against preschoolers, and you're like, yeah, I'm the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, obviously you're at the top of the leaderboard. Everybody else is so easy to beat. So I don't really know what this pertains to, but I think that you're afraid to level up or to go to a different niche or to try something new. You're afraid to try something new because it means starting over and being less experienced and not knowing as much. But I think this thing that you want to try, that's actually where all the passion and excitement is for you. I think you feel like you're in a rut right now because you're not excited to wake up every day. You're not really excited to do this thing that you do, even though that you're the best at it. It's just, there's no challenge, there's no fun there. And so how you get out of this rut? You have ideation and the sun. I think you know what you want to move forward towards. I think if you really asked yourself, like, what do I want to do? It would be to level up. Like, whatever that means for you, whether it means moving into a different career path or moving to a bigger company or, I don't know, maybe going to grad school or trying to get your PhD, and like, you know, maybe you're content over here, but like going to do that, oh, that's such a big challenge and you don't know if you really want to take it on. But I think that you would have so much more fun in that other sector, in that new level. Once you get past the hump of being the new guy or the new girl and not really knowing as much, I think that there's so much for you to explore and enjoy in that sector. But you're just scared of that space and time where you are the new person that doesn't really know anything. Where you have to ask all these questions and like you're learning the ropes. Like, I think this is just an ego thing for you. I also think that you could be a fire sign just because of all the color that we have going on here and all the wands and then the sun. So that would be Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, I think. Or you could have a very fire-dominant chart. I think you're somebody that likes to chase, that likes the fight, that likes the competition. And it's like winning doesn't really feel so good if there's no risk of losing. And I think there's no risk of losing where you're at, and that's the problem. But you enjoy being here because you're winning every day. Like, you don't need to worry about losing. But at the same time, it's like, you're not really having fun, so like, what's the point? I think you're just afraid to move on and be the new guy for a little bit and not really know what you're doing. But I think if you let yourself daydream a little bit and genuinely ask yourself, like, okay, do I want to stay here or do I want to take that leap to that thing I'm a little scared of? I think you would come to the realization that you do want to take that leap, whether it's going back to school or, I don't know, maybe it's like a literal competition, like you just haven't competed in a while in whatever it is that you like to do. Like maybe it's photography, entering a photography competition. You're like, well, you know, it's been a long time since I competed. I don't know if I'm actually going to do well, but right now everybody's praising my Tumblr blog where I post all my posts, so maybe I'll just stay here. And it's like, no, you can put yourself out there, you can try. Maybe you might not get first place, but you're going to love that competition and that fiery, creative spirit it brings out in you when you want to succeed so badly. I know that's very niche, but like that's what I'm seeing for you. I think you would really thrive in a more competitive environment, but there's a side of your ego that just doesn't want to deal with real competition because it's fun to win. It's fun to win over and over again. It sucks to lose, but at the same time, you're not really having fun where you're at, so you got to make a decision. And also with the Chariot and the Passion card, I think it's just straight up saying like you're going to really enjoy the journey. Once you make that leap into this other thing, there's going to be so much passion and excitement for you in this thing. So, obviously this is vague because it's a general reading. I don't know exactly what it is you want to do. I gave you a couple different ideas. Like maybe it's getting back into a competition of sorts. Maybe it's going back to school or trying out a new job or I don't know. Whatever it is, I think it's time for you to make that leap because you've outgrown the pond that you're in. You've outgrown the current area that you're in, and I think you're just afraid of what it might mean, you know, to leap out of the pond and actually go into the ocean, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, I'm just a carp and there's whales out here and sharks. Like, yeah, it's scary, but you can grow, you can level up, and before you know it, like, I think that you could actually compete with some of the big names in whatever field you want to go in. I think that you could actually really make a name for yourself because there is so much passion and love genuinely for what you want to do. Like when I look at this Chariot card, I see somebody with so much momentum and like drive to move forward. You could succeed at what you want to do. I think it's just about taking that leap and like being willing to fall on your face a few times. Like you've gone a really long time without falling on your ass and making a fool out of yourself, and you're scared of what it might mean to do that, but put that ego aside and live your life to the fullest. Because right now it's kind of just passing you by, and you know you're in this waiting stage where nothing really real is happening. There's so much fun and excitement waiting for you out there, and I think that you really have a capacity to exceed everybody's expectations. But in order to get there, you're gonna have to be the little fish again. You're gonna have to go through a period of time where you're not the most knowledgeable person in the room. And that's a good thing. Because when you are the most knowledgeable person in the room, when you are the most successful person in the room, you're not gonna continue to grow. But when you are the person at the bottom of the rung, you only are able to go up from there. You're only able to grow. And being surrounded by people that are at that place that you want to be at is going to give you that drive to want to learn more, to want to do more, to want to be like them. And I think you can do it. I think you have so much ability. I think your ego's getting in the way a little bit. So, pile 3, that is about everything that I have for you. I know it's short and sweet, but I think that's all you need. So I truly wish you the best. Again, I know you can do it. You will have that confidence to do it. You need to be ready for a little bit of an adjustment period. But you got this. So that is everything that I have. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.